Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you guys like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So about a week and a half ago, Donald Trump on his website officially released some new hats. One of them was a Gulf of America hat and another one was a Trump 2028 hat, which fuels a lot of speculation. Is Donald Trump actually going to try to run for a non-contiguous third term? And obviously, I've said for a while, and we've had some people, that have asked me about it as well. What is exactly going to happen in 2028 if Trump tries to do it? I've always said he's not going to do it. I think that this is something that is an own the libs type of thing. Trump wants to cement his legacy. He wants to keep his opponents on their toes, and he wants to troll. And he's been an effective troll his entire career in politics, and it's worked wonders for him. It arguably has won him elections just based on how he typically can throw the media for a tailspin and control the narrative better than really any other Republican figure has been able to do in this country. He's probably one of the only ones that knows how to control the media narrative. And sometimes people will question the methods behind the madness or whatever, but that's basically what it boils down to. 2028 Donald Trump is going to be in his early 80s. And I don't think he wants to be president until he's 86. I think he wants to cement his legacy. If he was younger, I think it could be discussed. And maybe we could talk about like an amendment to the 22nd Amendment where we would have term limits, but also amend it for like presidents to run to non-contiguous terms. Because honestly, if there's like a really good president who's like in his 40s, I wouldn't mind having them president for more than 8 years. Just depends. Maybe you do have like a term limit sort of thing where it's like 2 non-contiguous terms or you cap it at 4 or whatever, because I understand why you wouldn't want somebody to be president for like 16 years in a row. But if people want somebody to be their president, then that honestly, like if Trump's approval rating was in the 60s and people wanted him to run for like a third term, he should be able to, hypothetically, in my opinion. But still, he's a little bit on the older side. I don't think he wants to. And finally, we got an answer today on one of the Sunday shows, Kristen Welker interviewing Trump about this. Is he going to seek some sort of third term? Well, I think we have an answer. Take a listen to this.
The Trump organization is selling hats that say Trump 2028.
Yeah.
Are you seriously considering a third term, Mr. President, even though it's prohibited by the Constitution? Or is this about staying politically viable?
I will say this. So many people want me to do it. I have never had requests so strong as that. But it's something that, to the best of my knowledge, you're not allowed to do. I don't know if that's constitutional that they're not allowing you to do it or anything else, but there are many people selling the 2028 hat. But this is not something I'm looking to do. I'm looking to have 4 great years and turn it over to somebody, ideally a great Republican, to carry it forward. But I think we're going to have 4 years, and I think 4 years is plenty of time to do something really spectacular.
So you could see automatically he just comes out and says, yeah, I'm not really looking to do this. This is about the next 4 years, and then we'll hand it over to another Republican, a viable successor, Trump being a kingmaker. Now, the glory in this whole thing is that he still is able to throw the media for a tailspin because he doesn't technically say no. He says no without saying no. He's going to tease it more. We understand that's how Donald Trump likes to operate. That's how he's able to control the narrative. He's able to have a lot of people just seething at the prospect of Donald Trump basically being this lifelong king, dictator, whatever. They want to hit him with all these labels. And Donald Trump doesn't care. He's like, yeah, I'll get in there. I'll be a dictator for one day. I'll do everything I need to on day one to get this country back on track. A lot of people will say that they don't want him to, talk about this third term because people are going to say, oh, he's like a dictator. I understand why people say that, but at the end of the day, it's like they're going to call him a dictator regardless of whatever he does. That's just how these people operate. It doesn't matter what he does. These are the same people that call libertarians fascists. Okay, these are not exactly the brightest bulbs in the shed, and that we know. But the interview goes on. He talks about who his potential successor could be. And, is he going to name drop J.D. Vance? Take a listen to this.
You have built a political movement that has transformed the Republican Party.
Industry.
It's transformed the country, quite frankly.
Political movement in history, MAGA, Make America great again.
When you look to the future, Mr. President, do you think the MAGA movement can survive without you as its leader?
Yes, I do.
What gives you?
I think it's so strong, and I think we have tremendous people. I think we have a tremendous group of people. We talked about a number of them. You look at Marco, you look at J.D. Vance, who's fantastic. You look at, I could name 10, 15, 20 people right now just sitting here. No, I think we have a tremendous party. And you know what I can't name? I can't name one Democrat. I mean, I look at the Democrats, they're in total disarray. They have a new person named Crockett. I watched her speak the other day. She's definitely a low IQ person.
It's so true. And he's right, because you have the Democrats, and what are they exactly doing? This is a race to the bottom on their side. They don't have star power, but Trump does mention J.D. Vance as kind of like the next in line. He also mentions Marco Rubio, which, again, a lot of people still are probably a little skeptical of Marco Rubio. He was Donald Trump's one of his main opponents and critics on the more establishmentarian side back in 2016, but he has come a long way, and he has been an excellent Secretary of State. And he's to the right now on some issues that Donald Trump, wasn't even talking about back in 2016. Obviously, he's talking about him now. The Overton window is shifting, but Marco understands the way the wind blows. But I'd understand why people wouldn't want him at the top of the ticket. But I think that a lot of people could really live with him as VP. I think he'd be a great VP for Vance, potentially. Vance is kind of going to be that next in line. I don't know if Rubio's going to run against Vance. It might be kind of like a little bit of a conflict of interest sort of thing. I think Vance is going to be the guy. I think he's got to be the guy, especially because he does have that appeal for the Rust Belt. And we'll play the rest of this clip, but it's like, 22nd Amendment, you can read it. It doesn't really seem like there's much of a loophole. Like Donald Trump would have to step down as president by January 20th, 2027, and then start running for 2028 while Vance is president. It just doesn't exactly make a lot of sense. And he's, again, like I said, he's going to be like 86 at the end of a hypothetical third term. I don't think this is something he wants to do. He wants to golf. He wants to enjoy retirement. And he says he believes the MAGA movement can last after he's gone. But when it comes down to the 2028 election, it's very easy for Republicans to win. Democrats, once again, are going to have to run the table. And basically, does Vance give you the best shot at winning Pennsylvania? Because if Republicans take Pennsylvania, it's ball game over. They win most likely, because Arizona, Nevada, the registrations are moving right. North Carolina, if Trump's approval rating is like 38%, could we be talking about, a blue North Carolina or something like that? Yeah, but I don't think we're there. I don't think we're going to be there. North Carolina's registrations are about to flip Republican. Democrats had a great week, and then Republicans had an even better week. So they kind of offset the bump we saw from potential like Democrat special election primary stuff. Similar thing going up in Pennsylvania too, by the way. But it's like, the Republicans overall have a just golden opportunity to win. Donald Trump, as long as his approval rating is in the high 40s, I think Vance is going to be favored. And when you look at these clowns on the Democrat side, like AOC is leading their polling. Jasmine Crockett is up there as a possible rising star in the party. She's a total clown. And it's like, if this is the direction the Democrats go down and they're continuing to not learn from their mistakes whatsoever, things could get ugly for them. They absolutely could, because I think that the Democrat candidate, if Trump's approval rating is like 46, by then it could be a lot higher. I'm just saying, the candidate, there will reach a certain point in Trump's approval where the quality of the Democrat candidate will come into play and make or break them. And I just don't see anybody right now. Maybe things will change, but right now, who will be able to go out there and get that job done? So we'll listen to the rest of this clip, Trump talking about 2028 and who his successor might be. Take a listen.
I know that you are only 100 days in, but as we sit here today, who do you see as your successor, Mr. President?
Well, it's far too early to say that, but I do have a vice president, and typically it would be, and JD's doing a fantastic job.
He would be at the top of the list?
It could very well be. I don't want to get involved in that. I think he's a fantastic, brilliant guy. Marco is great. There's a lot of them that are great. I also see tremendous unity, but certainly you would say that somebody's the VP. If that person is outstanding, I guess that person would have an advantage. But I think the other people would all stay in unbelievably high positions. But, it could be that he'd be challenged by somebody. We have a lot of good.
So basically, That's the end of the clip. But he says the people that are also good could stay in high positions. What does that kind of tell me? It tells me that Marco Rubio likely A, will stay on as Secretary of State, or B, J.D. Vance is VP. And obviously Republicans have been making gains among Hispanic voters for sure. A lot of people are questioning if it's like a Trump phenomenon or not, or how Vance would handle that. But I think Vance putting Rubio on the ticket, if anything, could help accelerate some of those gains for sure. And definitely that could be something that would be huge for 2028 and beyond. And Donald Trump has basically said, yeah, J.D. Vance is probably going to be it. He didn't, say verbatim, I'm endorsing him now, because even when a primary is going on and it's Vance and like a few other people polling way below him, Trump probably is going to stay out of it for a while. It's typically what people do. Even the kingmakers have done, but Trump says Vance is doing a good job. He was asked in an interview not too long ago if Vance would be his 2028 successor, or if he sees him as a successor. Trump did say no, but he didn't say definitely not. He basically said, I'm focused on the here and now. He's kind of doing the same thing here, except he kind of is opening up a little bit more and hinting that in 2028, it would be Vance. And if Vance is unable to go for some reason, or he just doesn't want it, which I think he probably would, but if he doesn't want it, maybe Trump would be down to endorse Marco, which kind of is an interesting reversal of fortunes from 2016 when Marco was his more establishment opponent. Now Donald Trump could even see him as a successor. Still, a lot of people are not going to like that idea, and that's fine. I understand why. He still has a lot to prove, but I really like what he's done over the past few months as Secretary of State, and I really hope it continues. It seems like one thing that all Republicans are united behind at this stage in the game is how good of a job Marco Rubio has done. So we'll see what happens, guys. But 2028, like I said, this is just a very open opportunity for Republicans. Democrats are in disarray. If you turn out enough voters you need in those Rust Belt states, you just need Pennsylvania. It's game over. So we'll see what happens, guys. But anyways, make sure you guys like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Red Eagle, out.